The stars above Mars shimmered cold and still, but Commander Jack Voss wasn't looking at them. He stood alone in the command balcony of Outpost Helios, deep beneath the Martian surface. Around him, the war room buzzed with silent movement. Holograms hovered in the air, crew members tapped commands into sleek consoles, and silent warnings blinked red along the edges of glass panels. Jack's eyes were fixed on the transmission playing in front of him. It was footage from the Varelli's Peace Summit, recorded just hours earlier. The screen showed a room of delegates, humans seated alongside representatives of alien empires, when suddenly, the feed erupted in chaos. Gunfire, screams, smoke, and then silence. 6 of Earth's top diplomats were dead. The news reached Earth as an accident. Pirates, they said, a tragic attack with no clear culprit. But Jack Voss wasn't a man who trusted appearances. He knew better. Earth had enemies hidden behind smiling faces, and they had just made their move. He turned as footsteps approached. A tall woman in a black uniform stepped into the room. Colonel Aaron Miles, his most trusted operative. "It's confirmed," she said quietly. "Valari agents. We intercepted coded transmissions matching their encryption. The assassins weren't pirates. They were sent." Jack didn't reply immediately. He reached for the control pad and paused the footage. The final frame hung in the air. Earth's ambassador Lee slumped over the conference table, blood on her white robes. "So," he said at last, voice calm, "they've made the first move." Colonel Miles nodded. "What are your orders?" Jack stepped toward the center of the room. He tapped a single button on his wrist console. "Commander Voss to Earth Strategic Command," he said. "Authorization code, Black Echo 7. A moment passed. Then a voice answered, filtered through layers of encryption. "Strategic Command receiving. Standing by. Activate the hidden Armada." Silence. "Confirm, Commander?" "Confirmed," Jack said, steel in his voice. "The time for shadows is over." Far across the solar system, ancient systems came to life. Beneath the frozen surface of Europa, great hangar doors slid open for the first time in centuries. Massive warships, hidden in the moon's oceans, began to rise through melted ice. Deep within the asteroid belt, what had once been believed to be mining colonies revealed themselves as fleet silos. Rows of stealth destroyers lit up, power surging through dormant cores. Even farther out, beyond Neptune, an invisible field dropped, revealing a colossal ship the size of a city, orbiting in silence. The hidden Armada was awake. Back on Mars, Jack watched the data streams flood in. Ship reports, activation signals, power levels. He felt no joy, only focus. This war had been expected. Earth had known the Valari would never allow it to rise in power. The Galactic Union's peace was never built on trust. It was built on fear, and Earth had simply been too weak to matter. But Earth was no longer weak. Jack turned to Colonel Miles. "We need proof before we strike. Can you get it?" "I already have a lead," she said. "A Valari comms hub on the edge of neutral space. Lightly guarded. If we're fast. Take a stealth team. Leave tonight. No one knows we've moved." "Not yet." She gave a sharp nod and disappeared through the side corridor. Jack remained alone for a moment, staring into the projection of the galaxy now hovering before him. The stars no longer looked distant, they looked like battlegrounds. He had trained for this moment his entire life. As a boy, he had grown up in the Martian Defense Academy, raised on simulations of alien tactics, diplomatic deception, and the history of fallen worlds. Earth had survived only because it had hidden well. But the moment had come to stop hiding. Later that night, Jack stood in his private chamber. He pulled open a steel drawer and took out a small metal case. Inside lay a worn photo, his mother and father, both former commanders in Earth's old orbital fleets. They had died decades ago in what was called a training accident. Jack had since learned it was no accident at all. Valari sabotage had taken them. And now Valari arrogance would cost them everything. He set the photo down and looked once more at the flashing red alerts on his display. Fleet activation complete. Weapons charged. Cloak systems operational. Earth's silence had lasted 3 centuries. Now, it would speak in fire. The stars looked the same, but everything had changed. Across the solar system, Earth's greatest secret stirred beneath ice, metal, and vacuum. The hidden Armada, built in silence over centuries, was now alive. Thousands of ships, each one hidden, each one dangerous, moved into formation. They came from beneath Europa's frozen crust, from hollowed asteroids, from deep space cloaking fields beyond Neptune. They flew without signal, in perfect silence, their hulls dark and cold, masked from the sensors of the Galactic Union. Commander Jack Voss stood at the heart of it all, aboard the command ship Vanguard 1, now in high orbit over Mars. He watched the fleet gather on the holomap before him. Frigates, destroyers, stealth cruisers, and black-shielded dreadnoughts, each one prepped for war. "The Armada is fully awakened," said Admiral Wren, Earth's logistics chief, her voice sharp through the ship's intercom. "All systems green. No exposure." Jack gave a single nod. "Maintain blackout protocols. No open comms. I want them blind." He stepped back and looked through the wide viewing window. The emptiness of space stared back, but he saw far more. He saw a war about to begin. In a different corner of the galaxy, Colonel Erin Miles crouched in the dark. She was deep inside a Volari communications relay on a small moon called Thauris 4, near the edge of neutral space. The mission was simple: retrieve proof that the Volari Dominion had ordered the assassination of Earth's diplomats. But nothing about this mission felt simple now. She wore a skin-tight stealth suit, nearly invisible against the metal walls. Beside her, two other operatives, Lieutenant Caro and Specialist Lynn, held position, watching patrols pass below. Volari guards, tall and armored in dull red, moved in slow patterns around the relay core. Their movements were precise, cold. Erin had studied them for years and still found them hard to predict. The Volari didn't think like humans, but they did make mistakes. Lynn pointed to a blinking terminal across the chamber. "That's the source. Data's live. I'll need 4 minutes." "3," Erin replied. "We're not staying long enough to get shot." With the guard's pattern memorized, she signaled the team forward. They dropped silently onto the graded walkway, slipped past the guards, and reached the core. Lynn worked fast, fingers flying across the keys. "Decrypting command logs." "Yes." Orders came straight from Volari High Command. Code matches Executor Varn Talrek himself. Erin clenched her jaw. "Send it to Vanguard 1. Then wipe the local copy. Leave nothing." Just as Lynn hit transmit, a shrill alarm echoed through the chamber. They had been seen. "Move," Erin shouted. Volari guards turned, raising shock rifles. Blue bolts lit the air. Erin fired back with a silenced pulse pistol, dropping one enemy with a hit to the neck. Caro threw a flash bomb, and in the burst of light, the team vanished down a service tunnel. They escaped the moon with seconds to spare, their ship cloaked as they jumped to lightspeed. Back on Vanguard 1, Jack Voss stood with fists clenched as the transmission came through. The message was short, but the implications were massive. Order: eliminate human diplomatic party. Origin: Executor Varn Talrek. Status: completed. The room fell silent. Jack spoke clearly. "That's it. That's the line crossed. The Volari didn't just kill our people, they declared war." Around him, his officers waited. Some looked nervous. Others, grimly ready. Admiral Wren stepped forward. "With your permission, Commander, I'll begin targeting priority notes. Volari supply chains, communications towers, forward bases." Jack held up a hand. "Not yet." He turned toward the tactical display. "They think Earth will lash out in anger. That will strike blind. But we don't do chaos, we do precision. We'll hit them where it breaks them. Slowly, quietly. Then we show the galaxy the truth." He tapped the map. "Prepare Phase 1. Operation Silent Wake begins now." Later that night, alone in his quarters, Jack pulled up a digital archive. It was a hidden log, a message his father had recorded 30 years ago. Jack had watched it 100 times. "If you're seeing this, son, then the silence is ending. Earth has always been underestimated. That's how we survived. But one day, someone will try to wipe us out completely. And when they do, you'll have to decide, do we stay hidden, or do we show them what we've become?" The message ended. Jack closed the file and stared out at the dark sky. He had made his choice. Across the stars, Volari High Command still laughed behind closed doors. They believed Earth was weak. They believed they had ended a problem before it started. They didn't know what was coming. The hidden Armada was awake, and it would not go back to sleep. Silence had served Earth for centuries. But now, silence was a weapon, and Commander Jack Voss was ready to fire it. Inside the command deck of Vanguard 1, the warship's glowing panels cast sharp light across his face. The room was calm, cold, and waiting. Outside, Earth's hidden Armada was in motion. Thousands of ships moved like shadows across the void. No signals, no noise, just perfect, silent formation. The operation had a name: Silent Wake. Their target: Volari Base Von Kar, a forward operating station in the Drexus sector. Officially, it was a research facility. In truth, it was a hub for Valari military logistics, communication relays, and blacksite operations. More importantly, intelligence showed that one of the masterminds behind the Varelli's assassinations was stationed there. Jack Voss stood before his fleet captains, each one appearing as a projection before him, women and men from Earth, Luna, Mars, and the Belt. Some were old soldiers. Others were born into this hidden war, trained for a future no one else had seen coming. "We strike fast," Jack said. "No warnings, no comms, no civilian targets. Disable, disarm, humiliate. The Valari believe Earth is afraid. We're about to prove them wrong." One by one, the commanders gave nods of understanding. Jack's orders were simple. His message was not vengeance, it was control. At 0300 hours, Earth stealth destroyers dropped from Quantum Fold near Von Karr. The base floated above a red gas giant, shielded by asteroid fields and defense grids. But none of that mattered. The hidden Armada had been built for exactly this moment. The first blow came from the shadows. 3 stealth frigates crept beneath the base's sensor range. They fired EMP warheads, cracking like silent thunder across Von Karr's shield systems. Lights dimmed. Gravity systems collapsed. The station spun, disoriented. Then came the pulse cruisers, releasing waves of directed energy that cut through communications towers and relay nodes. The base's alarms never even activated, systems died before they could scream. Inside the Valari command chamber, chaos spread like fire. Officers scrambled to reach their weapons. Their leader, Commander Zyrek Vaughn, shouted orders, but no reinforcements came. Every signal they sent vanished into silence. That's when the dreadnoughts arrived. Earth's largest ships, black armored giants with kinetic cannons and plasma drills, dropped from fold space like shadows given form. They didn't fire to destroy. They fired to paralyze. Railgun blasts sheared off the station's outer weapon platforms. Grappling beams locked onto the remaining infrastructure. In just 12 minutes, the most secure Valari base in the sector was dead in space. Jack Voss stood calmly at his command window as the feed came through, live visuals from the assault team inside the base. Colonel Erin Miles stepped through the corridor of stunned Valari officers, her boots silent on the metal floor. Her team had secured the core command room without a shot. One by one, the alien officers were disarmed and forced to kneel. No blood. No mess. Just clean, absolute control. Erin turned her comms on. "Von Karr is ours, Commander. 0 casualties. The base is intact. Transmit the footage," Jack ordered. "To the Galactic Union Council. Unedited." "Yes, sir." A pause. Then she added, "They didn't expect this. Not even close." Jack allowed himself a small breath. They still don't understand. But they will. Hours later, across the core worlds of the Galactic Union, leaders watched in disbelief as the footage spread. The Great Valari Dominion, thought to be untouchable, had been brought low without warning. Their base had not just been hit, it had been taken, and Earth had done it without a single wasted shot. In the Union Council chambers, arguments erupted. The humans must be stopped. They struck first. No, the Valari struck first and lied. Some demanded war against Earth. Others feared what a full-scale conflict might cost. One thing was certain, Earth was no longer small. On board Vanguard 1, Jack met privately with his senior advisors. The room was quiet but tense. "We've sent a message," said Admiral Wren. "But the Valari won't retreat. They'll hit back, and harder." Jack nodded. "Let them. This was never about avoiding a fight. It's about fighting smart." Erin entered, her uniform scorched but her expression steady. "There's chatter on Valari channels. Executor Varn Talrek knows. And he's not happy." "Good," Jack said. "He should be scared." He turned back to the tactical display. Every red dot that marked a Valari installation seemed smaller now. Vulnerable. "We don't win by overwhelming them," he said. "We win by breaking their illusion of control." And this was only the beginning. He tapped a single key on his console. The next set of targets lit up. Operation Silent Wake had begun with silence. But now, the sky had burned. And it would burn again. The Valari Dominion had been hit hard, and the galaxy had taken notice. After Earth's precise and ruthless capture of base Von Karr, the image of the human race had shifted overnight. What was once seen as a silent, backward world was now something far more dangerous, a calculated, prepared force willing to fight on its own terms. Commander Jack Voss stood at the center of the storm. He hadn't slept much in days, but his mind was clear. The attack had done more than cripple Valari infrastructure, it had shattered illusions. It had proven that Earth was not only ready for war, but that it had planned for it. But now came the next stage. Survival would not be enough. Earth needed allies. In the wide tactical chamber aboard Vanguard 1, Jack reviewed a list of neutral or minor powers who might be persuaded to join Earth's cause, or at least step out of Valari control. He tapped a name, Kalari Confederation. The Kalari were a peaceful species of long-lived beings, known for their advanced shielding and energy modulation technology. They had remained neutral for over 500 years, unwilling to choose sides in any conflict. But Earth's recent action had caught their attention. "I want them," Jack said. "We need better field cloaking and phase shielding." The Kalari of both. Admiral Wren looked skeptical. "They've ignored Valari threats for centuries. What makes you think they'll listen now?" Jack gave a short smile. "Because now they see who the Valari are afraid of." A week later, Jack stood face-to-face with Envoy Tenhalis, the lead Kalari diplomat. Her silver-blue skin shimmered under the soft lights of the diplomatic chamber. She looked calm, elegant, but her eyes never stopped watching. "We admire your restraint," she said carefully. "Most powers would have leveled the base. You took it intact. That speaks of discipline." Jack didn't flinch. "Discipline is all that kept Earth alive this long. We didn't come to impress anyone. We came to survive. But if others want to survive too, they'll need to pick a side." Tenhalis paused. "And what are you offering in return?" "Protection," Jack replied. "From Valari control. From extinction. We both know they'll come for you eventually. They always do." There was silence. Then Tenhalis bowed her head slightly. "We will share our shielding matrix," she said. "But we will not fight your war." Jack accepted. "That's enough. For now." The deal was barely signed when Earth's forward listening post in the Titan sector picked up new signals. A Valari retaliatory fleet, headed straight for one of Earth's covert construction facilities on the Moon Tryon, 7. Within hours, alarms blared through Vanguard 1. Valari ships incoming. 12 destroyers. 4 dreadnoughts. Launch window, 8 minutes. Jack didn't hesitate. Scramble the third fleet. Defend Tryon 7. No retreat. The battle was brutal. Earth's defenders, mostly stealth corvettes and mid-range frigates, engaged the Valari in tight orbital space around the rocky moon. Without planetary support, it became a dance of skill and precision. Valari ships had raw power, but Earth had planning. Using the Kalari's new phase shielding, Jack's ships could absorb twice the damage and redirect energy into counterstrikes. Coordinated EMP blast short-circuited Valari sensors mid-fight. Jack's fleet darted like ghosts between asteroids, cutting down their enemies one by one. But the cost was high. 6 ships lost. Over 200 dead. Tryon 7 was saved, but Earth had felt its first real sting. In the command chamber, Jack reviewed the names of the fallen. He read every one out loud. He made sure no one forgot what it was costing them. Admiral Wren stood beside him. "You're pushing them hard. This isn't a game of skirmishes anymore." Jack's voice was low. "No. It's a war of message and memory. The Valari thought we wouldn't fight. Now they know we will. But we also have to show the galaxy that we're not just fire, we're force with purpose." Wren didn't argue. That night, Jack received a private transmission. It was encrypted, traced from deep within the Valari Dominion. The image flickered to life. High Executor Varn Talrek stared back at him, tall, armored, alien. His voice was a deep growl wrapped in control. "You are clever, human. But clever is not power. You wounded us, yes. But now, you will learn what it means to be noticed by something greater than yourself." Jack didn't respond at first. He stared at the image, calm and unshaken. "Good," he said at last. "I wanted your attention." Varn leaned forward. "This galaxy is not yours to shape." Jack's expression hardened. "Not yet." The screen cut out. Hours later, Jack sat alone in his quarters. He thought of the people lost at Tryon 7. He thought of his mother, once a commander like him, lost to a training accident, one he now knew was Valari sabotage. He thought of the Kalari, quietly watching, wondering if they had chosen wisely. And he thought of Earth, still underestimated by most of the galaxy. But not for much longer. The alliances were still fragile. The war was far from won. But the ashes of old powers were falling. And something new was rising from them. The stars outside Vanguard 1 shimmered cold and bright, but the war room inside was all movement and tension. Commander Jack Voss stood at the center, staring at a 3-dimensional map of Dranthus Prime, the Valari Dominion's capital world. Massive space stations ringed the planet. Dozens of defense fleets guarded it like armor. Energy walls protected its surface. It was a fortress, and behind that fortress sat High Executor Varn Talrek. Jack had waited years for this moment. "This is it," he said, his voice steady. "We end it now." The room quieted. No one argued. They all knew what was at stake. Earth's growing fleet had been gathering for days, cloaked in deep space just beyond the Ryloth expanse. The hidden Armada was now no longer hidden. It was in full force. Joined by a few bold allies, including stealth drones from the Kalari and artillery ships from the Martian Defense Corps, the Armada was ready for the final assault. The operation was named Stormfront. Jack briefed his commanders in person. Dranthus Prime is where their control begins. If we take it, their empire fractures. But this is not conquest. This is correction. Make no mistake, this will be the hardest fight we've faced. Admiral Wren stepped forward. They'll have more ships than we've ever fought at once. Jack nodded. Then we beat them all at once. At 0 hour, Earth's fleet dropped from fold space with silent precision. The sky over Dranthus Prime erupted instantly. Valari sensors detected the invasion too late. Earth's EMP torpedoes disabled several orbital satellites in the first 10 seconds. Then came the full wave. From all sides, Earth ships moved like blades, coordinated and clean. Dreadnoughts fired plasma lances that cut through Valari capital ships. Swarms of cloaked drones slipped past shields and detonated from within. Stealth cruisers punched holes in the enemy formation, then vanished before counterfire could reach them. But the Valari were not unprepared. Their ships fought back with brute force, missile barrages, shockwave cannons, and swarms of fighters filled the sky. Earth's right flank was hit hard. The EAS Polaris, a heavy-class destroyer, was torn apart in seconds. Still, the Armada pushed forward. Inside the Valari command tower, Varn Taurek watched the battle unfold on a widescreen. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with rage. "They came to die," he growled. His advisors looked uneasy. "They came to win," one said quietly. Back in space, Jack led the assault from the bridge of Vanguard 1. The massive flagship dove into the heart of the Valari fleet, using experimental solar EMP cannons charged directly from light harvested over days in deep space. When fired, they released waves that knocked entire cruisers offline in seconds. One by one, Valari formations collapsed. Jack's voice came firm over the fleet-wide comms. "Target their command core. Take the Executor." Colonel Aaron Miles, now leading a rapid assault unit aboard the cruiser Black Edge, broke through the last defense ring and launched a direct boarding strike on the Valari command tower. They fought their way through levels of dark corridors filled with enemy resistance. Valari soldiers fell, one after another, against Earth's elite force. Finally, they reached the control chamber. Varn Taurek stood waiting. Aaron leveled her weapon. "You're done," she said. He didn't move. "Do you think this ends me? My kind doesn't die with a throne. We become legends." "No," Aaron replied. "You become history." She fired. The shot hit him square in the chest. His body fell backward against the polished floor. It was over. From orbit, Jack watched the signal come through. Target neutralized. He closed his eyes briefly. Not in relief, but in resolve. "All ships, stand down," he said. "Enemy command structure is broken. Begin extraction. Leave their cities intact." He turned to his officers. "We came to stop a tyrant, not to become one." Admiral Wren gave a small nod. "Understood, sir." News of Varn Taurek's death spread faster than fire. Across the galaxy, Valari-controlled systems fell into chaos. Governors resigned. Fleets surrendered. Entire planets declared neutrality or pledged support for Earth's growing coalition. The Galactic Union, once silent, now reached out openly. "We request Earth's guidance in forming a new interstellar security pact," came the message from the council speaker. Jack didn't answer right away. Instead, he stood alone in his quarters, staring out at the stars. He remembered what his father once told him: "Power doesn't prove who you are. What you do with it does." Jack Voss had shattered the galaxy's greatest empire. But he wasn't finished. Not yet. The war was over. The stars that once shimmered with hidden threats now glowed with quiet. The Valari Dominion, once feared and unchallenged, lay in ruins. Its fleets were broken. Its command shattered. Its capital, Dranthus Prime, sat silent beneath the orbit of Earth's ships. On board Vanguard 1, Commander Jack Voss stood before a wide glass viewport, watching the scattered remnants of Valari dreadnoughts drift lifeless in space. The battle had ended days ago, but the weight of it had not. "Enemy resistance has dropped across all sectors," said Admiral Wren, stepping into the command deck. 14 worlds have surrendered without a fight. 8 more have pledged neutrality. Jack didn't turn. And the Galactic Union? They're calling for emergency reform. They want Earth to help lead a new council. Jack was quiet for a long moment. The galaxy had changed. Earth had changed. But some part of him wondered what it had cost. Tell them, he said finally. Earth will help build something better, but we will not rule it. Ren looked surprised. You're refusing command? Jack turned at last. We didn't fight to replace one empire with another. We fought to survive and to be respected. That's enough. She nodded slowly. And if someone tries to rise again, someone like Varn Talrek? Jack's voice was steady. Then Earth will remember. And we will be ready. Down on the surface of Dranthus Prime, Earth's peacekeepers helped evacuate survivors, distribute food, and stabilize power grids. There was no looting, no revenge. Orders were clear: restore, not conquer. In the capital's ruined command tower, Colonel Aaron Miles stood at the top floor, looking out over a skyline of broken towers and quiet skies. She touched her comm link. Voss, you sure you want to walk away from all this? We've got the power now. Jack's voice came through, calm. That's why we can walk away. In the following weeks, Earth established the Armada Coalition, a defensive alliance open to any world seeking peace and protection without domination. Earth shared its stealth technology, its energy shields, and its lessons. But it never sent demands. It offered a hand, not a chain. The Kalari Confederation joined first. Then came the Rim colonies. Then others, quietly at first, then openly. The Galactic Union was reformed with new leadership, new laws, and a new respect for the planet they had once ignored. One evening, aboard a civilian shuttle returning to Earth, Jack sat by the window. Below him, Earth turned slowly in the black. Its oceans were deep blue. Its cities glowed like veins of light. Children would grow up never knowing the fear of silence, the threat of extinction. They would know a world that had stood when no one expected it to. A crew member approached quietly. Sir, she said, a message came in. Untraceable signal. Buried in static, but it's him. We think Varn Talrek survived. Jack didn't move. Where? He asked. Unknown. He's hiding. But alive. Jack nodded once. Then we stay ready. He looked back out the window. The stars had quieted. But silence could be deceiving. On the dark edge of the galaxy, deep in forgotten space, a broken Volari vessel drifted inside an asteroid field. Its systems flickered. Inside its command deck, a figure stood, half-shadowed, one eye glowing faintly red. Varn Talrek was not dead. Not yet. But the galaxy had changed. He would need to change with it. Back on Earth, in a green field under the open sky, Jack Voss stood alone. No orders. No war. Just the wind and the quiet hum of peace. He looked up. Let them come, he thought. Earth remembers.